someone built, let's call it $100 million business, they might have been going through your problem that you're going through at 3 million 8 years ago, 10 years ago. Okay, that's before AI, that is before COVID. And so it starts to become where it might be true, but it might have been true 10 years ago. Peer-to-peer coaching can become commiserating because you're all going through the mud together. Like you're all still in the trenches. I need eyes in the business to see things that I don't know. Like if I came to you and I'm like, there's a fire, you could help me put it out. I might not have full visibility to know like that's gonna cause a fire.
How did you know this is worth it?
I'll just say it starts at $5,000 an hour. I'll pay you $1,000, hop on a call for 30 minutes, and I just wanna go run some stuff by you. And then you get some good perspective. Like, okay, I thought this was a raging fire, and they're like, no, like this is totally normal. Picking of the 100 fires, which one am I gonna focus on? So prioritization is the hardest part, but it's actually all the other things you have to say no to and just let them keep burning. That's the harder part.
You kind of already answered at the beginning, so you stole my thunder. How do you know whether you need a coach, some sort of decision-making framework, or just more execution?
I just want to be clear with the audience that the reason I always have my leg up is not because I'm copying Lee or trying to have like that whole like symmetry thing. It's because if I don't, I'm too short and I slide down.
You can't reach the ground. Wow,
I have to plant my foot here and then I have to cross my leg. So it's not a matter of like power or anything like that.
No.
I would prefer not to do that.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I didn't realize that. Now like I feel like I'm just
You're
gonna look down.
privileged over there, Mr. Privilege.
Yeah, height privilege. Here, let me just sit up a little. Actually, let's raise this. Just kidding. Welcome back. Another episode, the C-Suite Unfiltered with Mike Andes. How are we doing this fine Friday morning? I know these release on Mondays, but how are we doing?
I'm doing great.
Doing great.
Flew in
Fantastic.
yesterday from the turnaround show.
Yeah,
so.
Awesome. Well, I want to cut all the fluff and get straight into the content today. I got a lot of questions.
Okay.
And we are going to zoom in today on coaching.
Okay.
Because it is something that business owners talk about a lot. It's it's a concept that I feel like everybody has ideas around, maybe expectations, their own understanding of what it is, and there's different layers of coaching. And so I really want to get into the specifics of that with you today. So in true Alex Hormozy fashion, we have to start with definitions.
Okay. What is coaching?
So, I mean, genuinely, like, what is coaching? What is Mike Andes? But we'll talk in the context of business. Yeah. What is business coaching to Mike Andes? Like, define what that looks like.
I think there's different flavors of it, right? So if you're looking for more instructive, like do this, that's one type of coaching. Another type of coaching is like accountability. And so how much you have to pay, the frequency of your visits, all that will kind of just depend on what type of coaching you're looking for. And I think having a flavor of all of them is important. And so, I think coaching there's many flavors of coaching, in my opinion.
Give like a couple examples. So flavors, I think I could give some, or I think I have some certain assumptions, but like, what would you say are flavors of coaching?
Okay, so one would be accountability straight across. And that's usually, you can also get this in a community. And that's where it's like, hey, we all know these things make us better as leaders or better business owners. We will hold each other accountable to do those things. A lot of times, like people will say, like, I get a coach in the gym just so I show up for them, like because I have a schedule, and I need to make sure I show up for them. So like that's more of an accountability person. That's not like here's how you do it. There's a reason why you talk about Alex. He has a lifting coach. It's not because he doesn't know what to do in the gym. It's because he wants to show up for the guy, and so wants to impress the guy. And as he said, he just wants him to be like, great lift. And like get that warm, fuzzy feeling. And like, but that is still a level of coaching because it fosters accountability and makes you do the things you know you need to be doing. So there's peer coaching, kind of like we have with Augusta, and owners had asked that for a long time. I didn't really understand it because I'm usually not a peer coaching type of person. But so many people wanted it. And it's like, we want to talk to other people who are in it with us and the same size as us. And, that's also a great way to be able to like, oh yeah, last week I did this. So like yesterday I'm talking with Jonathan Potoshnik, it's more of a peer relationship. And it's like, he's like, what about this with Google? What about this? And like, we're just going back and forth. And it's because he's in the game, I'm in the game, we're doing the same thing. And then there's other coaching where it's like someone has already been there and done that and might've been years ago, but they're way down the road. So they have a little more perspective and they can be like, oh yeah, do that and this, but then on the next thing, make sure you do this and this because 3 years from now, you'll thank me. And so there's different levels of coaching. I don't know if I had to like label them, I'd probably say like accountability, peer, and then guru. That's probably how I'd like rank it.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people default to guru when they think of coaching. Like, and the terminology I would use, and I use this definitionally, is like there's a power dynamic, i.e. the guru has done something better than me, has a higher net worth, has achieved more than me. Therefore, they have this power dynamic of been there, done that, and I can take from them and I can learn from them and they can point me in the right direction and make sure I don't get off course. So I think a lot of us think of that as the primary form of coaching, but I like the idea of like accountability where it's like, just show up, just check in, we're here to support you. And then peer-to-peer, was not a planned question, so let's just kind of go off the rails here. When you look at peer-to-peer coaching, what makes peer-to-peer coaching good? And I know we needed to kind of define what good is, but when does peer-to-peer coaching become good versus just another person giving you another piece of advice about your business?
I would say that the worst thing about peer-to-peer coaching can become commiserating because you're all going through the mud together. Like you're all still in the trenches. And so it can become actually really negative if it's not organized very well. And then from a good perspective, the feedback is coming from someone that has just done it. And I think this is where people a lot of times will go after the guru, but you got to remember if someone built, let's call it $100 million business, they might have been going through your problem that you're going through at 3 million 8 years ago, 10 years ago. Okay, that's before AI. That is before COVID. That's before a lot of things. And so it starts to become where it might be true, but it might have been true 10 years ago. And so peer-to-peer usually get like, last week I did this. Last month I did that. I'm doing this right now and it's working right now on Google. Like if you listen to someone like, Google ads are great. And you're like, okay, great. Tell me about it. Like, well, I have a $100 million business. When we were at 20 million, 20 years ago, we did this and Google is great. It's like, it has absolutely no bearing on how to use Google. And so I think if you're trying to change immediate actions, peer-to-peer is usually very helpful. If you're trying to think about strategy, that's where having someone that's been there, done that, and then has the next 10 years ahead of you, they already have some insights to those, that is helpful. But peer-to-peer is so great because they're going through those same things with you, and they probably have the most accurate information in a fast-moving, dynamic world. Things like marketing, websites, AEO, SEO, even hiring. Like, if you talk to someone in 2020, how about hiring versus 2026? Very different. In terms of like labor supply, how many people you get for applications when you put up a job ad. And so there's pros and cons of every one of those three. Accountability, like the problem with accountability is there's not a lot of skin in the game besides like disappointment. There's not money involved usually. And if there is, it's not as much. And so as you go up that'd probably correspond with like the value, like the dollar amount that you're gonna pay. At the end of the day, if you're not gonna execute, none of it matters. Accountability doesn't matter if you just show up at the gym. Having peer-to-peer doesn't matter if you're going to hear what they say and then be like, discount it for whatever. They're in a different industry, they're in a different market, but like they just discount it. And then same thing with the guru. Like people do this all the time and it just boggles my mind. They'll pay a bunch of money and then they hear information. They're like, well, that doesn't work for X, Y, and Z reason. It's like, why even spend your money?
Yeah.
Like it's a waste.
Yeah. That's a good point. So when we look at coaching, and it could be accountability, it could be peer-to-peer, it could be the guru, and I like those three categories. Like, is a good coach in any of these categories, are they there to give you answers, ask better questions, or compress experience? Or all three, or something else?
I think all three and all different types of the coaching probably have a different flavor or like pros and cons in each of those areas. I think what you're talking about mostly is guru coaching.
Yes.
Which is I have one coach, they are looking at my business, but like, for example, I'll use my two coaches. So are you gonna get in this later?
We'll get into it, but go for it.
So Dr. Kashi, I would show up and I needed to bring what I needed to have, like I was struggling with the business or like questions I had. If I didn't have questions, like we were done. And sometimes like we'd go for hours because like I had a lot to go through. Whereas my current coach, Kale, is very much more like he has access to all our financials, all my Stripe, QuickBooks, all my reporting. He's in my Slack. Like he's in my Facebook ads account. He's in my Google Analytics. Like the first week was just giving him access to like everything.
He's in my private messages.
Yeah, he's in my DMs.
No, I gotta do I have to filter? Like unfiltered.
Yeah. So yeah, that then when we have a call, it's like he is proactively giving me instruction. But that type of like coaching, it's so much more involved. It's also like way more expensive. So
yeah, so like kind of pivoting from that, and I do want to get into your coaches specifically, but like when you pay for a coach or a workshop or a mastermind or some sort of advisory relationship, how do you calculate whether it's worth it? So you just talked about like you have a new coach, his name's Kale. How are you calculating, okay, this is his price, and if you're comfortable sharing, feel free. Like this is his price to get coaching from him. How did you know this is worth it?
Yeah. So in terms of his price, I don't want to jeopardize him because I know it changes based on preferences, et cetera. So I'll just say it starts at $5,000 an hour. So it's a lot. So that way people don't bombard him. That's why I'm setting the floor, and it goes higher than that. Yeah. So what was your second part to that?
The question is like, how do you calculate whether it's worth it?
Oh, it's the best coaches you can't calculate an ROI. And so if you're looking for an ROI, this is actually why with Home Service Boardroom I went so high on price. I didn't want people to be like, the dollars and cents of that. I did the guarantee to just be like, look, I guarantee you're gonna earn $100,000. If you have 20% margin, there's your fee. But I didn't want the whole calculation of ROI because that's what most people do when they're like, I'm gonna pay $99, I'm like $50, how many customers did I get? The best coaching, if you talk to the people who have paid hundreds of thousands of dollars per hour, it is never like, well, I had dollars and cents, I made this 30% return on investment, and I made 130 off my 100,000 I invested. Like, it's not like that. It is usually strategic things, or it is guidance, and it is preventing the $3 million or $5 million or $10 million mistake, or 3 years of wasted time, and like put a quantify what that is, right? And so it's more strategy the higher you go up. It is also more leadership skills the higher you go up. It is with confidence questioning your assumptions, whether that be the things that you kind of like, batteries included. When you have a guru or someone has done it, been there and done that, they can just tell you like, do this. I know it works. Your level of being able to just trust them is what everything hinges on. Because so if you told me like, hey, do not cross that street. If I trusted you, I just not do it. If I didn't trust you as much, I'm like, why not? And then you have to give me an explanation. Well, there's been fast cars, and like there, all of a sudden something open up the road, there'd be a gaping hole, whatever. You would have to explain yourself. So the higher the trust, the faster we can move with the coach. What most people don't do is they just question everything about their coach, and they never execute. And so like when I have done this every single time I've ever had a coach, and that is, here's the 3 or 4 things we talked about that I need to do, and I will have them done. And when we get on the next call, I will have these done. And even like right now, the marketing company we're working with, 100% of that buying decision comes down to one thing. He told me he's worked with them and they're good. I don't need anything else. Like, we came ready to buy from this person because it was a person I trusted said to do this. And so I think most people get so in their head about like figuring things out and all the rest of it. If you trust the person and they have verifiable experience, you should just trust them. And you say, well, maybe they're wrong. They might be, but they'll probably have a higher propensity or percentage or rating compared to you if you've never done what they've done before. And that's how I approach coaching. Yeah.
No, I appreciate that perspective, because I think what you outlined there is there's almost a decision point, and this is what I'm just going to make a claim here, is that when you are looking at getting a coach, if you're looking for someone to commiserate with, you probably don't need a coach. If you're looking for someone to actually take actionable advice from, then go get that coach. Like, that's kind of, it sounds like the line in the sand for you.
Yeah, or get the coach to rewire the way you think to where commiserating isn't the thing you do. Because you've never seen a successful person that commiserates.
That's a bold claim. I like that.
Yeah, no, never. Anytime someone does it, like whether it be a customer, a family member, a church, someone in church, I can immediately, I will do everything in my power to help you, serve you, make sure things are right. Immediately I know that this is not a successful person. There's no human being that you look up to that's like they're super successful that will get in a group of people and commiserate about anything. They'll take ownership of something, and they'll make a change, or they'll adapt, or but they will not commiserate.
So what's the difference? Let's go down that trail. What's the difference between commiserating versus like venting? Because from a human perspective, like, there are times where you need to vent. You need to get something off your shoulders, especially. And I would say, I've seen you vent like in professional settings, like behind closed doors. But it's not necessarily venting. I know that's like a very emotional word. But what's the difference between those two? Commiserating, is that just echo chamber of victim mentality, lack of ownership? Venting is, hey, this is just an emotional thing that I need to get off my shoulders. Like, what is the balance? Because I feel like successful people do vent. They do get mad. Like, you've seen Elon get mad in interviews. You've seen people get upset that are successful. There's being upset or venting, and there's commiserating. What's that line?
I feel like commiserating brings an audience. So if behind closed doors and leadership team we're talking, like, I know there's no one going to be gathering around. Like, the negativity does not draw into that room. Like, we're gonna figure out things. We're gonna come up with solutions. But I'm not gonna go out in front of the team out with 50, 60 people and be like, this XYZ stinks, or talk about the horrible landlord or whatever it is. Like that is just like I'm drawing in negativity. And so venting, I think, is like where you have a closed off system. It's like, hey, I need a vent for a second, or like I'm mad about something, but it's a closed off system where I'm not going to attract everyone else that might be also in neutral and bring them towards negativity. So yeah, you have never seen me do that. You will never see me do that in a public manner, or like even talking to my coach, like I will never commiserate about negative things that are happening in the business ever. So yeah, I've been thinking about that a lot recently. And I think that if finding the right circle of friends, that's where it's important when it comes to business, is get around the right people. Because if people are constantly dwelling on negative things, like you just don't hear anyone talking about negative stuff a lot that is successful.
Yeah.
Like think about all like, let's just go like right to the echelon so people know like who we're talking about. Talk about Jeff Bezos, you talk about Elon Musk, like they're talking about the future. They're talking about things that are exciting. They're talking about like they light up about what they're doing. And in every one of their business, there's lawsuits, there's problems, there's issues, there's vendors, there's horrible things in their past. They've done stupid stuff, like all this negativity, but they're thinking about the future and the positive, and that's why they bring great talent. And so for someone that is really tends to commiserate or like find other people with negativity and then like they breed off of each other, they can never attract great talent. Because great talent doesn't want to work for someone like that.
Yeah. And I think what you can do if you want to be productive to kind of pivot it back towards coaching is go to the coach with the problem, vent to them, to use a more emotional term, and then ask, what is the solution? Like, where do we go from here? Like, I don't want to commiserate. I don't want to be stuck in this negative state. I want to practice ownership of the situation. So let's move to the next step, I guess.
When was the last time you remember me venting? The leadership team.
It was.
You have it. You remember you remember.
It
everything.
was, yeah, of course. It was after you moved into your new house, so not that long ago.
That meeting.
That meeting. It was just the leadership team and then you and Bree. And
what was I venting about? I know we had that thing going.
It wasn't.
on.
That's the thing. It wasn't like a vent. That's where I don't want to like. You are very emotionally stable. You have lower highs, higher lows.
Yeah.
You're very good at riding that plane. But it was just a situation we were actively dealing with, and you were frustrated. Frustration is a fair term.
That's when I was like, let's move on for this kind of thing. Yeah, okay, yeah.
And that's like, but that's fine because we were in closed doors. We weren't focusing on the negative. It's like, this is an issue we have to deal with. So we can be frustrated about it in the moment, but you don't let it linger. Like the next day, it's like, all right, what's the action plan? All right, what are the next steps? Yeah. So I think that's healthy though. Like, and I do it, with my spouse, obviously with Sarah, is like, have a hard day at work, like have someone basically ghost me on a call that I was like, thought was a for sure, sale, right? You're like, that's frustrating. Like there is that human emotional element, but like I think this is kind of a moment of learning for me, is that I don't think I've ever brought commiserating thoughts to my coach. It's very much like, okay, these are problems, but let's fix them.
Yeah.
And I think too, when people look at someone like a Steve Jobs, right, he is notoriously known for just being like harsh and always like, you could paint Steve Jobs as someone who always focused on the negative, but what he was focused on was making the product perfect.
Yeah.
And so it comes across as negativity, but it's more so like, this product could be so much better. Let's make it better. Let's focus on the future, but it almost looks negative. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think like commiseration is not necessarily about emotion. Because commiseration means I am actively trying to draw people into negativity. That's the difference. Whereas if you have negative thoughts, bad stuff that happens, but you gotta be like definitive, you're mad about something, that's fine. But when you're just trying to create negativity, like that's where I feel peer-to-peer can get very dangerous, is just commiseration. I'm just drawing people into my vortex of negativity.
Yeah.
And I just have never met someone I look up to or what they've done and be like, oh yeah, they do that. None of them. And so I would just like friend groups, even if it's like if you're married, like what couples you're hanging around, what families are you hanging around, what who's at church. Like I just be doing an audit, doing a friend audit, and being like, do these people commiserate? Because if I get around them, all they talk about is negativity. It's never serving anyone. Like it's a horrible way to live life.
Yeah, this is going on another rabbit trail, but in the boardroom, here's an exclusive peek for everyone who's not in the boardroom school community. The second month is on marriage. So you're talking about marriage and the marriage contract, and I've been watching some of the videos, and in one of them, you talked about like a business partner. If you're going to get into business with someone and you hear them speak negatively about their spouse, immediately you don't want to get into business with them. And I was like, that's such a good rule of thumb, because my wife and our kind of marriage contract or constitution, whatever you want to call it, it's like an unspoken rule. It's like you and anyone else will never hear me say a negative thing about my wife publicly. Never.
All right, I love this topic. Inside of Home Service Boardroom, this is why the first month challenge is just about health and exercise. And we're just finishing the first month inside the community. And so a lot of people are posting the results after the first month, because we have 30-day challenges, and they had to track all their calories, and they had to get 10,000 steps a day. And that was it. No like specific workout, no specific food or diet. And just because of that, people are losing 10 plus pounds, their blood pressure is coming down. It's amazing. The second month is what Lee's talking about, and that is the marriage, about getting your spouse on the same page and going in the same direction. Because if that's not happening at home, how are we supposed to show up as the full version of ourselves as a leader when we have 10, 15, 20 employees, if when we go home, there's argument, there's strife, and we're not rowing in the same direction, and there's not collaboration and support around your goals. So that's what we talk about. It's a 4-hour, 4 sections, 4 hours of training, and then there's a 30-day challenge associated with creating your marriage constitution, creating a budget or a profit and loss statement for your personal house, just like you would for your business, to get you and your spouse on the same page. So check it out. Link is in the description.
And anyone else will never hear me say a negative thing about my wife publicly. Never. We could have had the worst fight in the world this morning, which we didn't. She's great. She packed my lunch. It was amazing. She made me coffee this morning. She's amazing.
Did she listen to the pod?
Yeah.
Let's go.
As soon as it gets posted, I send her a personal link. I said personal link. She is
and subscribe, baby.
she is the original producer for longtime listeners. But like, you just won't.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't serve my marriage, and it doesn't serve anyone around me. It would just be me looking for a laugh, which, like, at the expense of your spouse.
Yeah,
gross.
dude, that's so gross.
Or two, like, you're just not representing your relationship in a positive light, which is like also gross. So I'm just being 100% unfiltered here. So like, just don't do it. Like, in that, what that mentality allows is for you to be less negative in your marriage. So even if we did have a horrible fight this morning, you wouldn't know, because I'm just not going to let that negativity impact me for the rest of the day. And then we go home and we work together to solve it, right? Yeah. And we didn't have a fight. She made me a great coffee. It's on my desk. It's fantastic. So back to coaching. We're pivoting back here. How and why did you pick your current coach? So like, how and why was Kale the guy? Like, how did you get in touch with him? Was it a recommendation? Did you find him on YouTube? Like, walk us through that process.
Yeah. So I'm from when he came in, like the thing that most coaches are looking for is like, what's the problem and how can I help? And my thing is like, I don't have any fires burning that are like massive that I need help on. I know like the things that are problems in the business, we're taking action on them. I need eyes in the business to see things that I don't know. Like if I came to you and I'm like, there's a fire, you can help me put it out. But I might not know I might not have full visibility to know like that's going to cause a fire. And so I'm smart enough to know I don't know everything. And so I'm like, I need eyes on the business. And so his coaching style specifically, where he's seeing all the numbers, he's by osmosis, like he's passively in stuff, allows him to be able to get better visibility, even than Dr. Cashy. Because like the problem with Dr. Cashy, not the problem, like the thing with Dr. Cashy was I had to identify a problem, come up with a question, and bring that forward. Whereas Kale is actively looking at opportunities in the business based upon seeing all the data and then coming forward to me. Almost like an advisor more. Mm-hmm. And so that's why it's so expensive, but he's spending more than just the 1 hour a month with me. There's other things that he's doing.
So do you have a timeline going into this? You're like, okay, this is the fit. This works for the current constraints of my business. This person has a unique perspective that will be helpful. We've determined that. Do you have a timeline for how long you expect the relationship from coach to student, to use that example, should last?
So in this specific case, like for Dr. Cashy, I would have gone forever, but he got so busy after the book launch. And so it just became so many months between us being able to talk. And honestly, if I asked for it, it'd be more frequently, but like I know he's more busy, so I ask less often, whereas we used to be on a weekly basis. So, but if I could, I'd do forever with him because his range is outside of business as well. And like there's so many other elements that I was able to glean from. For Kale, I think I trust him enough to know that, and he has said like, when I don't think I can help you anymore, I'll let you know. And when I don't think I have the next step for you or like something you can work on and take action on this month, I'll let you know. And so I think right now I've committed like a certain amount of months, but I trust that after that, it'd just be a matter of like, hey, I think you can do this and this and this. And then it comes a month where it's like, hey, you're taking execution on everything I told you. You're doing great. You're good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's one of the things you told me, and we can kind of pivot a little bit towards like my recent experience and some of the updates from my like being coached. Is you told me that when I was like, hey, I think I'm done with my coach. Like I think I'm ready to move on, and you were like, that's the sign of a good coach. Like they gave you what you needed, you built the thing, you solved the problem. Like you can move on if you went to them for a specific problem. So I guess broad stroke speaking, do you think people should, and I know we don't like using that term, do you think some people should move on from their coaches once a problem is solved? Do you think they hold on to like that coaching relationship too long? Like what are your thoughts on that, I guess, timeline of the coach solved the problem versus this is now just kind of a crutch or a relationship that I have?
I think if you have them in the guru section, yes, it should be more temporary, like 6 to 12 months, for example. This is just my opinion. If you're in like peer-to-peer or community or accountability, that's where you kind of just want to keep fostering those because peers will grow your business with you. And so they're kind of constantly be at your level or around it, and you'll always be able to learn with them. If you're in some sort of accountability or a community aspect of things, that's just strengthening all the time. Like we just need that as entrepreneurs because it feels lonely many times. But if you're paying like top dollar for a really good coach, is like more the guru side, and they're honest enough, they should just tell you like, we're good. Like you got what you need from me and you're good to go. And that usually happens at like upper echelons of cost where it's like you don't, if they are not able to bring value, they should be honest with you and be like, hey, you're crushing it. Like, move forward, find someone else that's like at a different level than me.
How do you, as someone who has coached business owners, and I know you do like the turnaround, so it's like a set, this is 3-4 hours you spend with them, but like coaching owners of Augusta, like, do you ever feel like you don't have value to bring to them? Or do you feel like you've gotten to those crossroads where it's like, hey, we are at this moment, I've given you everything I can. Now I think the next thing you need is X. Like, have you had that with anyone you've coached?
Well, this is really the biggest reason why we have Home Service Boardroom. Is because like that next level of training and coaching was needed. And so I'm no longer doing one-on-one with anyone. And it's just because of my time. And so, but if I can make it more a peer-to-peer and accountability at a higher level, I can still serve people that are bigger businesses, et cetera. And then the other part of it too is like, I would not conflate even like the franchise with coaching because there's so many other things that are there, right? So like, we also do websites at Home Service Web Design, but you get 2 websites when you join Augusta, right? So access to P4P software. There's all this other stuff with the franchise. When it comes to like coaching specifically, this is why in the coaching program we have a wide variety of coaches. Ones that have a bunch of locations and multiple millions of dollars. Others that are $300,000 to $500,000 in annual revenue, and we do that because some people like to hear from people ahead of them, but then also like you hear from them, like, great. Now I want to go to someone like in the trenches that's at my level, so I can kind of like, hey, what happened last week with that first employee that you hired, and the second employee, and the third employee, because that might have been 10 years ago for this other coach that I'm working with, and so I feel like sometimes switching coaches is just useful to get different eyes on the business, fresh eyes, and a lot of times even a larger business owner will miss something that someone in your peer group might pick up on because they're seeing it in their own business. So their eyes are fresh. So fresh eyes are good too. I don't think like, it's very rare you look at top athletes that have coaches their entire career. Where you look at like people like Tiger Woods or Michael Jordan or Roger Federer, or you look at their coaches, they usually go like 1 to 5 years and then they swap. They get other eyes in the business, other eyes on their form, their game tape, how they're doing things. And I think that those different perspectives are helpful. Not to say like, oh, I left them for a better coach. It's not, I need different eyes on the business to get a different perspective. And so identifying if you have clearly identifiable weaknesses, then it makes it easier to identify which coach do I need. So for example, if I identify I stink at leadership, you should go find someone you look up to in their leadership style. If you like, I stink at marketing, you should go find someone who's really good at marketing. And so I'm able to usually look at a coach and be like, okay, there's certain aspects or traits that I know they're really strong in. Does that complement my weaknesses? And can I then glean more from them? If I went and talked to someone and I'm like, hey, you've done franchising up to 120, 150 locations, and what can you, like from a franchising, that vertical, I'm either ahead of them or like there's not gonna be a whole lot they can add to me. There'd be a peer-to-peer relationship. But if I look to them like, okay, my goodness, they have 120 locations, but every location is doing 5 million a piece, and it's a trampoline zone, for example. Okay, that's a very different, because that's called capital structure, and that's a part that I'm going to be weaker on, because every one of their locations are going millions of dollars in debt. Okay, I want to learn about that. So then there'd be a identifiable piece that I could be observant from or learn from.
It's almost like what you're saying is the more specific you can get about the result you're looking for, the better you'll be able to find a coach for that.
Yes. Also, for like Kale, for example, I don't have a specific thing. It is I know what his strengths are, but I also just want his eyes on the business, and I want fresh eyes.
Yeah, I like that. So what are your thoughts on, and I want to use an example and then pivot a little bit more towards myself personally, my transitioning with coaching, is what are your thoughts on coaching that's like a consistent relationship, whether it be accountability, peer-to-peer, or a guru, or like a one-time event, seminar, workshop? So for example, October of 2024, you took the Augusta leadership team to Jocko Willink's muster, which was a 2-day leadership seminar. That was effectively drastically condensed coaching into 48 hours that we all could then walk away with 3, 4, 5, 6+ months of this is what I need to work on. This is the skill set I need to gain. These are the changes I need to make. What is your perspective on the difference between that kind of consistent in the mud with you coaching versus this is the thing I need to solve right now, and therefore I'm just going to go to this 1-day seminar, take this one course to solve that problem? When do you make the decision to do either of those?
I think education and coaching are conflated. I think coaching is very different than education. And so when we went to the muster, for example, I believe that a conference is a really good way to identify a gap in your skill, but it's not necessarily coaching. So when we went there, the objective from my perspective is like, I wanted to see what good looks like from a leadership perspective, and for us to be able to identify a gap. Hence the conversation afterwards of like, there's this gap, and that we could all be on the same page that it existed. And so I think that conferences, 1-day events, 2-day events, it's like, oh my word, there's this huge gap. Do I think that anyone is going to glean so much information and training and personalized coaching from that 1 or 2-day event? I don't. I believe that they'll realize a gap and then sometimes have the ingredients of what can make the solution, but they've got to go back and they got to work that. They got to figure things out. They got to create the systems to actually have it happen. And the usually more costly coaching is going to come with the person that's like a personal trainer. So like I can give you a workout app, and I can tell you what to do. The more expensive version of that is like, well, now you're going to have a personal trainer come walk you through those steps. And so the coaching is like not just the education, it's implementation of that education. And so I think 1-day workshops, conferences are a great way to identify skill gap, and then like, here's all the ingredients. And then whether or not you're able to go bake it yourself or you need a coach to kind of be that personal trainer, a lot of it comes down to your style.
Yeah, and it's about implementation. Are you willing to implement what you took away from that conference, right? And so to your point, I kind of want to disagree with you a little bit on the muster, but the reason I would disagree is because I had a one-on-one session with one of Jocko's guys, which was coaching. Yeah. And so I was able to take, this is everything we're talking about at this conference. Let's condense that to where I see bottlenecks. Here's my situation. Tell me from your perspective what you see. And so I was able to sit down with Matt, who's one of Jocko's guys, and like he was the outside eyes. He was like, dude, you're your own bottleneck, solve this problem, figure this out, go in this direction. It's so obvious. And so I slightly disagree with you, but I agree with you in the sense that like he made the picture clear. I think I would have gotten there with the content from the conference. It just probably would have taken me longer. And I have to hold myself accountable. So you're saying there's education versus coaching. Education, you're holding yourself accountable. Coaching, they are effectively holding you accountable or pushing you in a certain direction.
Yeah,
fair?
They're prescribing. Like you can go into a drugstore and have tons of medication.
Yeah.
That's education, like a whole bunch of information. I think most people have too much of that. But then coaching is, oh, here, let me take this one bottle out of 2,000 and give it to you because I think you need this. So it's that prescription process that, was it Matt, you said? Matt gave that clarity. All of the pieces, all the ingredients, all the different drugs, quote unquote, were there. But he's like, this one's for you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. I think I'll be prescriptive, is like take the opportunity to have that one-on-one. If you can have that connection with someone that will give you fresh eyes and you trust their perspective, like just do it. Whether you take the prescription or not, I knew that one-on-one I would walk away with something, whether it be a clear picture, whether it be something directional, whether it just be a kick in the pants. As soon as they were like, hey, sign up for one-on-ones with our team, I went and did it immediately. Like as soon as I saw that email, because I was like, I will get something out of this if I come at it with like fresh eyes and ultimately like with a student perspective that they have something of value to give to me. So I do want to pivot a little bit to my current situation. So I have left my coach, who's awesome. I had the breakup Zoom call. He was like, dude, this doesn't have to be this formal. I was like, it's not formal. I just want to thank you like person to person. I know we're virtual, but like I wanted to thank you to your face. Like I really appreciated his coaching. And so I explained that pivot to you, and one of the things we alluded to on the last pod is that you have so graciously allowed me to attend Alex Hormozzi's offers workshop. So Alex is doing an offers workshop this fall. I think this was a pivot for me for coaching, and I guess why I'm kind of equating a 2-day workshop to coaching is because I have identified this one specific gap that we currently have as a franchise, which is how do I better package the offer for our ICP, our ideal customer profile? And I feel like my coach previously helped me build a sales system. The structure, the tracking, the flow, the scripts. We've built a sales system, and that's what I needed him for. Now I need to better package the offer and use that system appropriately. And so that's the transition I'm going through. How do you see that from an outside perspective? I guess give me like live feedback. We've already paid for my seat at at the workshop, so can't take it back now. Like, what is your perspective, like boss to employee? Like, give me your outside perspective on how I'm approaching coaching or the gaps that I see.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because like most of the people there are going to be the founders.
Yeah.
And so even when Liz went to the other one, it was it's like a bunch of founders. So I really like having you guys there because I think that energy is good. The thing is this: once I knew you were going, I had to like put all these breaks in my brain because I wanted to solve that problem.
Okay.
Like, I wanted to figure that part. Like that's I love that stuff. Like,
Yeah.
Let's figure out because like we've just sold another executive model. It's now 3 or 4, and like it's becoming more into the sales process. That's the type of people coming to Augusta now that has that kind of capital and they want to invest. And so it's like, well, how do we change this offer besides just a big discount on the upfront?
Yeah.
Which right now it's like what?
60% off technically.
Like 60% off if you go to the executive route. But like, how can we package this better? I would love to grab my teeth into that.
Yeah.
And it was on my list, like long list. So it wasn't like in this sprint or anything, but it was like, we need to rethink this. So once you brought it up, I'm like, okay, I need to shut that off because like I wanted to so badly go down that path. So I'm really looking forward to what you come back with. But I have had to actually like, laying in bed and you're thinking about it, you're like, nope.
Yeah.
Nope. Lee is going to come up with this information. And so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, but I want your perspective, though. It's not to say, like, this is a solution and you couldn't give it to me or you and I couldn't workshop it. I think that's the balance of, as an employee, we can get to this dynamic. It's like, it is my responsibility to package our offer. Like, that is my job as your sales guy, is like, package the offer. Make it attractive, make the copy correct, have the website look a certain way, have the sales script and the flow of information be accurate for the buyer. Like, that's the goal. But the thing that I'm trying to, I guess, practice ownership over is like, that is my job to solve that problem. And I think the offers workshop, it will be an unlock for me. And to me, in full vulnerability and unfiltered spirit, is I feel it's a skill gap. Like, I see all the value we do bring at Augusta. I have a hard time sometimes packaging it appropriately for the prospective owner on the call. Because the thing with selling a franchise is that some people want to only talk about like the masterminds and the access to you and kind of the network that is Augusta. Some people only want to talk about the technical support, the software, the website, the lead flow. Some people only want to talk about administrative support, command center, whatever it is. And then some people want to talk about everything. And so it's hard to package an offer without going down all those rabbit trails, because you want someone to be confident when they make that buying decision. That's ultimately the goal. You want them to like, know, and trust. And the knowing part with selling a franchise is very hard because there are so many variables, and they're signing a 10-year marriage contract with you, as we like to jokingly say. Like, we are saying we're going to do business with you for 10 years. So how do I build the offer in a very clear and concise way to make you be willing to make that commitment without having to have a bunch of calls and over-explain everything?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I don't want to contaminate your thoughts going into that because I do have some ideas.
Yeah.
But I think if I threw them at you, I don't want you going. I want you to have no preconceived notions going into the workshop. So we start with a blue a blue sky, instead of like here's kind of stuff Mike said. So that's why I've like really held back since you mentioned it.
Yeah. Do you feel like, and this was a kind of a follow-up question, and so I'll ask it without, with the fear of being judged. But do you believe, and I was trying to figure out how to structure this question.
Your preludes are great.
But my prefaces. Do you believe it is a sign of business maturity when you have just one thing to focus on?
No, I think that it is what you're trying to get to.
It's a loaded question.
What you're trying to get to is yes. I would say I would slightly change it, and that is the ability to be able to isolate down to focusing on one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Having one thing is like never going to happen. There's always 100 things that need attention that should be done. Oh, my post the other day. You see my post the other day?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That would be my answer. I was thinking about this in bed at 2 a.m. I don't know why today I'm always thinking about everything in bed, but it was something along the lines of the hardest part in business is not fighting the biggest fire. It's allowing the other 99 to burn while you build a hydrant. Mm-hmm. That's the hard part. So yes, you got to focus on the one major thing. Yes. That's not the hard part. The hard part is picking of the 100 fires, which one am I going to focus on? Mm-hmm. So prioritization is the hardest part. But yes, focusing on one thing is the likelihood of you accomplishing something is going to be higher, but it's actually all the other things you have to say no to and just let them keep burning. That's the harder part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the reason I ask it is not specifically for me, but I feel like I needed generalized coaching. I needed someone who had built a sales system before me. And like my coach has worked with Walmart and like huge publicly traded companies and like built out massive sales structures for them. Like he knows what he's doing. He's very niche. He was a great coach for the time to build it. Now I feel like I've identified like the one problem, the one bottleneck that gets us from 0 to 1 in terms of the new offer, executive models, going up market, all of these different things. And so I don't know if that's a signal for me that like this is business maturity from a sales perspective, because there are a million things that could change. Like literally yesterday I was working with my ChatGPT and it was like, I got to change this slide. And then in the webinar, I got to say this. And then this email follow-up sequence, I need to do this. And then I made a new sequence for a different like lead and like all this stuff. And I'm like, but those are all the little things. I need to just focus on the one big piece that will be the unlock. And so I think I was seeing like JP has really opened my eyes, Jonathan Potoshnik, in your podcast with him, that like every podcast he references like his marketing package. And I'm just like, at some point, in all honesty, I'm like, dude, stop talking about it.
What have you been working on this week?
I tried to finish up this marketing calendar, tried to finish up this master task list. I built my entire marketing calendar. I built that entire task thing we've talked about. It's like, what are you working on? My task list and my marketing calendar. That marketing calendar was so complicated.
But in another way, like that's just like the human reaction. But in another way, I'm like, it shows how much time and effort he is putting into building something good. Like, and that is something that is a perspective that I want to have. And realizing that there is a gap between my current skill set to where we want to be. And I need to build that thing that is good. So I just need to focus all my time and attention on this one thing. And that is our offer to join Augusta. So my thoughts on that. That's really it. There's no question there. That's me just spewing, I guess.
The books help me do this a lot. Because like it's so much work and effort and it takes months and months, if not years, to like get it good. And then you redo it and you finish the draft and like, okay, let's do it again. And you're like, oh. And so it really helped me hone in the skill of like, it's not the first, one coat of paint gets it like 98%. The second coat of paint is at 99%, then 99.5, then 99.8, and then 99.9. It's like, how many coats of paint do you do? And so there's diminishing returns, but also that's where all of the benefits are. Like, Olympians, it's the top 0.01% that actually make money, like make a full-time career of it. And so getting into that, it's like so much effort and like focus has to be on one thing typically to be able to get that good at it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How do you feel about your employees getting outside coaching?
I've been really open to it. You mean like me personally?
Yeah.
I've been really open to it.
Yeah. I just wanted to know because has anyone else on any of your leadership teams gotten coaching to the level I got with my coach, which was like very one-on-one, weekly calls?
I don't think one-on-one, But I'd be very much open to it because like I've given them all budgets
Cool.
for
Yeah.
training, and so they absolutely, if they found someone that they like, because the nice thing about sales, there's a lot of crossover.
Yeah.
Right? It's like very crossover. So whereas like other departments, it might be whereas like I have to get this coach for this one very niche thing, and I have to swap over here because like they don't have any context to what's happening over here. So it's a little harder. Sales is very much like an industry that you have your lead, and then you have your offer, you have your sales call,
Yeah.
you have funnels, you have automations. Like you can get a lot of cross pollination between industries. But they have all done different types of coaching. I'd say like whether it be conferences, workshops. They have done like mentorship stuff. So like even just finding people that are their role in other businesses and like reaching out to them. And so I've talked about with Nick, Liz, other people on other leadership teams. So most of them have some sort of budget around it. Finding like a direct coach in their industry or their specific is a little harder, I would say. But they're doing something.
Yeah, and that's where like it's not me like, oh, look at me, I had a coach, because it is easy to find a sales coach, but it's hard to find the right sales coach because I didn't need a sales trainer, I didn't need someone to help me overcome objections, I needed someone who has built out large sales systems before, and that was hard to find. So when do you feel like, and we can use me for example, because when I asked you if I could kind of start doing this coaching with my previous coach, how did you make the decision of like, I support this versus I'm skeptical of this? Like what went through your brain during that process?
I didn't have the time to spend that kind of time helping you do it. I have never done it the level that we wanted to get to. And so it was a fast track. It was an easy way to do it. Like in terms of ROI, it was like very straightforward. Also, just, again, different eyes on the business. So if he came in and was like immediately, this is totally wrong. Like this is fundamentally your issue. It's helpful. Just get other eyes on the business that have experience in that discipline. And so I've done the same thing with like Command Center or even owner success. It was like get other people that I know have done this sort of stuff. I'm like, hey, can you just look at this and be like, am I off? And they're not necessarily coaches. It's just like, hey, I'll pay you $1,000, hop on a call for 30 minutes, and I just want to go run some stuff by you. And then you get some good perspective. Like, okay, I thought this was a raging fire, and they're like, no, like this is totally normal. I'm like, okay, all right, thank goodness, I'm not completely insane.
At what revenue level do you feel that business owners should allow their employees to get coaching?
I think I said it last time. I said like if someone identifies a need and then is like, this thing will solve my problem, can I have budget? It's like, yeah, sure, go for it. Like,
Yeah, like this is the hack for any. If there's an employee listening, by the way, I'll now spill the beans. Is if you say you have a skill gap, at least for me, whatever you want, it's all yours. Like that's when you were asking for a budget to be able to solve the problem. Like that was where I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, because if someone's humble enough to realize they have a skill gap, it means that whatever they are about to spend money on, they will likely receive from it because they're in the position of opening themselves up.
because if I have not identified the problem and then they've identified that they have a problem, like if they've identified the problem, I can't identify the solution, then yes, please go get coaching. There are sometimes though, like I do think I could solve the problem, but I don't have the time to solve the problem. So it's like, yes, please go get coaching. And there's other times where it's like, I don't think it's a problem, but I need them to get confirmation of that from someone else besides me so that we're not butting heads all the time. So I think all of those cases lead to like, allow your team members to get coaching.
Yeah. To your point, because you said it's like a timing thing, let's just use the Hormozy workshop, for example. I'm going to go there for 2 days. Do you think we would have a similar product if you and I just locked ourselves in this room for 48 hours to make that, to restructure the offer for Augusta versus what I'll get out of the
4 hours we'd get there.
Yeah.
but the thing is, I believe that it's also a matter of, it's not just like our time cost of 4 hours. It is, there's 5% where we would miss. The one word, the one little sentence, the one like, hey, just make sure you do this on that email sequence, or make sure you just don't do this. That's what we would miss because we haven't done it before.
Yeah.
So we have sold, I guess our highest ticket is $35,000 right now.
Well, the executive is 75,000.
75, yeah, right. So that's our highest ticket. That's the one we need help with. But like, I would say our most confident offer, the $35,000 one, where we like already have a decent offer. It's like, you can leave at any time. It's a flat monthly fee, and you get your 35 grand back.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good offer. And so we've had no problem with that one. It's the other one where they're like, whether I get the money back or not, I'm going to be spending a lot of money building these big businesses out, and I'm going to be getting GMs the whole night. It's like, that's great and all, but me saving 50 grand is not going to be a deal breaker here.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, are we going to make millions of dollars? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
And so, we have not nailed that one. And do I think if we locked ourselves in for 4 hours, we'd get pretty close? Yes.
Yeah. That's exciting to hear.
Also, the confidence in the offer that you present will be higher when you know you're talking to people who have done offers that are $1 million, $2 million. And so I want your confidence in the offer to be higher than just us figuring it out together.
Yeah, it's that being in the room element of like, why do people go to live events? You want to be in the room. You want to feel that energy. You want to hear it directly from the person who's done it before. And I think that's also the unlock for me is like that motivation that, okay, we are going up market. This is a different buyer profile. A lot of, if we are going to go up market, like people, you know, that have 2-3 million liquid looking for investment opportunities, they're not on YouTube watching my candies. So they're coming into those calls with me cold. They're like, who is this guy? And like, why should I join this, you know, CEO's company? Like, and so the offer has to be right. So anyways, last question here.
I'll just add this one thing for the founders that are listening.
Okay.
The other part of it is I want you to come up with the offer because you will deploy discretionary effort.
Fair.
If we put it together, this would be Mike's idea or our idea. It would not be something that I fully believe in. I want to prove to Mike that this is right.
Yeah, fair.
Whereas when I know when I send you to acquisition, you want the return. You obviously care about the company and you want to see like that there's a return on that investment. And so whatever you learn, you're gonna implement and execute much better than if we came up with the idea.
Yeah,
and
that's a good point.
that's the hinge, the real clincher.
That's a good point. That's fair. I like to think I can strip out a little bit of that ego though. I feel like I've worked on that.
Yeah, but even with your coach, like you want to prove to me like, hey, this is the things that we've changed. These are the processes we've changed. These are the automations, like, and have evidence that the investment made was good.
Yeah, fair.
And so I would just encourage anyone to allow coaching, mostly so that way, if they do not have that humility to want to prove their worth, though, that's a problem. Like if you were like, hey, I want the $5,000 to go to an acquisition.com offer thing, and like I don't really see a need, but I just like to be in the room and feel the energy. I love to see Alex and Layla and see how they're doing. I'd be like, okay, cool, go for it. But if you have not had the humility to realize you have that skill gap, like you just mentioned, like most people can't do that. They just go to the event and they expect their boss to pay for coaching and training. And it's like, well, like you haven't even identified the problem, and so you're not going to get the solution. Like if you can't identify the problem, you're going to go there and have like a good time. You've identified the problem and you realize they have the solution. And when you do that, you will execute. I always talk about like the 3 steps, right? Problem, solution, execution. If you know the problem, you go to an event and get the solution, and I'm out of the equation, you will execute with like so much veracity. Is that a word? Veracity?
Yeah.
Ferocity. There you go. Ferocity.
Let's look that up.
Veracity is like, it's like a marriage of velocity and ferocity.
Yeah.
Just mashed together. There you go. Ferocity.
Okay. All right, last question. That's fair. I appreciate that feedback, and hopefully that's valuable for the folks listening. Last question here. You kind of already answered at the beginning, so you stole my thunder. Okay. But how do you know whether you need a coach, some sort of decision-making framework, or just more execution?
Oh, that's tough. It depends what kind of coaching you're trying to get. Because like,
let's take out the framework that I said, because I gave you 3 options, like a decision-making framework, which would be helpful. When do you need coaching, or when do you just need more execution?
It depends what kind of coaching though. Like if the coaching is like telling you what you should do, then I would say you should only get more coaching when you have a skill gap that you're trying to overcome. And you have identified that there's a problem and I need to go find the solution and so I can execute. But there's other coaching that's like very valuable where you're not executing on anything. So for example, the first 3 months talking to Dr. Kashi, I didn't like execute on much. We were working through like preconceived notions and ideas that didn't serve me well. And like, there wasn't a lot of like outside of call work being done that I needed to do. Then we went to like entered the phase of like getting ready for the conference and the book and all the rest of it. Now it's like very much different. But that first part of coaching wasn't anything like go do this or execute on anything. It was working through mental models of things that didn't serve me well. And so I don't necessarily think execution and coaching are directly linked. But I think in general, what you're trying to get at is you don't need coaching if you already have a problem that you're working on and you already know what to do. Then you should just execute. And this is actually really interesting too, like switching from a weekly to a monthly cadence with my coach. Like Dr. Cash was weekly back in the day. And then it's been like a year and a half of not a lot of coaching with him. But then now it's like Kale's once a month. I actually like the monthly with him because it's very executional. It's very much like, I gotta go do these 5 large tasks, like big things. So like, I need a month. I cannot do these in a week.
Yeah.
And so I think in that case, I just need execution in between the coaching calls. So I think sometimes the cadence of coaching is the part that's important. And this is where you want to be careful. Like if you have a coach that's too hands-on, you'll have way too many ideas, way too many solutions, way too many, this problem and this problem. It's like, whoa. Let's just identify one thing and let's just attack it. And so like we identified, Kayla and I, what we're working on for the next 6 months, like the big hairy thing. And it's going to take a solid 1.5 years to execute on.
Nice. So you're sticking with him for at least 1.5 years, basically. Or at least he's going to guide you through. Yeah. Cool. That's awesome. Yeah. All right. Well, we can wrap it there. We've exhausted a lot of coaching talk. Okay. Do you have any non-financial advice for the people? I'm trying to find mine. I thought I had a
really?
I thought I had a screenshot of it. I don't. Well, it's a video, so it's a quote from a video. I might just have the media team put the video in, but I still want to try to find the quote.
All right.
So if you can give me like 5 to 50 seconds.
Okay. So my non-financial advice is if you're doing caffeine, I don't
doing caffeine.
Yeah, dude, it's totally a drug. It's totally a drug.
Yeah, I mean, I like that.
If you're doing caffeine, take 3 to 5 days off to determine whether or not you're addicted.
Okay.
If overall, I don't really like dependencies. I don't want to depend on anything to be able to perform at the level I would like. So that's why I don't do alcohol or whatever else. But when it comes to caffeine, it's one of those legal drugs. You got to be careful. And so I recently took a 3 to 5 day little spell of no caffeine just to make sure there was no dependencies. And the reason is because we flew one of the days and I got a headache. I was like, and Brianna mentioned, like, what if it's because of caffeine withdrawals? I'm like, oh no, it's not. No. So I'm like, I'm off caffeine. And sure enough, it didn't come back. So I was like, okay, let's go. Yeah. But I usually would do that every 3 to 6 months, just like 3 to 5 days. No caffeine. Smart. Make sure you're not addicted. Make sure you don't have withdrawals.
Yeah. I'm a week or daily Monday through Friday caffeine guy.
Monday through Friday?
Yeah.
Dude, I love Saturday morning caffeine.
Dude, a Saturday morning coffee is the best. It's the best. But like, I'll usually take at least 1 day off a weekend as like hey, I don't need it. I'm fine. Yeah. And then some days at work, I'll just be like, I don't need it. Like, I just don't need it, so I'm not going to have it. Yeah. You just wake up feeling refreshed.
I found it's literally more of a social thing with Bree for me.
That's great.
We just have energy drinks. We have like an energy drink fridge. Do you have like a dedicated beverage little mini
garage fridge?
Oh yeah, let's go, dude. Just all energy drinks. Yeah. Like it's our social thing we do. So
yeah, I like that. I respect that. All right. So I found mine. Thank you for giving me some buffer
I was trying
there.
To burn time
no, you did great. All right. Hold on. It's a video, so I'm trying to trying to get the exact quote. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So in the spirit of coaching, HBO every year does Hard Knocks, which they set up cameras and they record NFL teams during practice.
I think I overheard this, like the coach.
And so Mike McDonald for our Seattle Seahawks, big fan. He said in one of his meetings with a player who was coming off the IL, he was injured and he's like trying to get back out there. And so the coach Mike McDonald is just trying to give him confidence. Like, hey, do what you got to do. If you want to be here at practice, be here at practice. If you want to go do rehab, go do rehab. If you need to go rest, do your thing. Like, you're good. We got you. Like, I trust you, basically. And he says,
but even still, there's always this thing of like people's version of me and what they think of me is not me. Yeah. So it's like, I'm okay with that.
And I just love that. He's like inspiring as a player. Like, hey, you're worried about what everyone's perceiving you, coming off rehab, getting back on the roster, coming back to practice. You're worried about, should I be here? Should I do this? Should I be involved in this? He's like, who cares? People's versions of you and what they think of you aren't you. And it's like, I trust you. I know you. You're good. We're good. And so I just love that. So maybe I'll ask the media team to put the whole clip in. It's just like chef's kiss coaching. Like he connects with the player emotionally. He guides them, and he just like the player leaves the office with like massive smile on his face. And you're like, that is a good coach. So in that vein, good coaches are very, 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 very important.
I like him a lot.
Yeah. He's
Mike
solid.
McDonald. When Pete Carroll left, I was like, oh man.
Yeah.
In a way, because I liked him too. But I like Mike McDonald.
He's solid.
Seems like a good leader.
Yeah. The running joke was like he didn't see his son until he won the Super Bowl. Because he worked worked crazy hours, and then he had his firstborn during the season, and people were like, oh, he probably hasn't even met his son yet. And so when he had him on stage at the Super Bowl, people were like, oh, Mike McDonald finally met his son. So there's balance to it. But anyways, like and subscribe. Thanks for listening.
Let's go.
About practice, because like I do want to go out there, but like I don't want to scoot around, the fans see me, and
what do you think I'm going to say?
I don't know. I actually don't know.
Whatever is the best for you to get you as healthy as possible, as quick as possible, that's what you should be doing. So sometimes it's like, I need to go home and go to sleep. Sometimes it's, I gotta wake up with a great attitude and tag to this. Anybody that doesn't have any effect on that, install this, whatever.